Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. So we got a bit of a heads up from Jeff Goodman saying that we're going to see some PTR patch changes tonight that they're going to try out, and some of these changes, man, are pretty spectacular. We're going to go through each of them and give you a bit of insight to what we think, but similar to when Sombra was added into the game, there's quite a lot of hero balancing changes, and we start with Ana getting kicked to the curb yet again. Biotic Rifle damage decreased from 80 to 60, we'll go over that in a second. Biotic Grenade, impact damage reduced from 60 to 30, impact healing reduced from 100 to 50. There goes that burst healing that Ana has. She still has a lot of use. I think this is one of those things with Ana where, like Lucio, she's going to get nerfed to the ground, but she's still going to have some pretty good use. But this is big. This is a big part of Ana's kit that's gone with the burst healing. Nothing really to say about the Biotic Rifle damage other than Pharah gets a little bit of a buff here. I think Ana was one of the only ones that can put consistent damage into a Pharah in the air, especially when you're not confident with the Soldier and McCree on your team. So Pharah players are going to really enjoy that change in particular, I feel. As a lot of people have highlighted on certain forums and stuff like that, with dive meta coming back, Ana with these nerfs is just a sitting duck now. This is kind of puts Zenyatta in a really good position in that type of composition, and he's got some buffs of his own, so oh man, there's a lot to get through. This is just, it reminds me of that big patch around Gamescom where there was just so much in it. But I do think that these changes to Ana make sense, but they might be a little bit too strong. We'll try them out, we'll let you know. But yeah, that's probably the biggest change on here at the moment. We're gonna go top to bottom with these forum posts just so you know. Second one is Junkrat no longer hurts himself from his own explosions. This is a really nice change for Junkrat. I think this one's been a long time coming as well, because of how sporadic and crazy Junkrat is as a character in itself. It is kind of a problem that a lot of your grenades can do damage to yourself, especially in closed spaces where you're just throwing grenades at whoever's in front of you, like a tank or roadhog. You're doing damage to yourself, you end up killing yourself a lot of times as well. So this is a step in the right direction for Junkrat. I don't think it's going to make him much more viable, but this is still a nice change. Orisa, fusion driver, magazine size load from 200 to 150. I think this stops a bit of the spam damage that she could do from a primary fire. Makes sense. Again, need to play her a little bit more myself, honestly, to work out whether she's OP or not. And supercharger cost increased by 15%. She was getting her ult quite a lot from the games that we had on the PTR. With a new hero and stuff like this, you only see these changes when they hit live. I think a similar thing happened with Bastion where people got really upset once the changes went to live, which is kind of silly. But I don't think we're going to know where Orisa actually stands until she hits live and more people play her. So the Junkrat and Orisa change is fairly straightforward. Nothing too major, but quite interesting to look at say the least. Stealth, sound effects and VR distance from entering and exiting stealth reduced to 15 meters. This is funny because I love the fact that Sombra comes out with like, been here all along. It's like, really stealthy, is it Sombra? But yeah, this is another change that I think's been a long time coming. Translocator cooldown reduced from 6 seconds to 4 seconds. That is major. That's probably overkill, I would say. It kind of complements the playstyle that you see from players like Cody Niku, where you're constantly in and out of fights. But I think this is one of the changes that I think might be a bit too much. It's a major buff to Sombra, don't get me wrong, but I think it might be in the wrong place. So who knows? I'm not really sure on that change. The stealth one is a really good one though. Winston, barrier protector cooldown now starts when the barrier is placed instead of when it ends. Called it. This is a change that I think's been waiting for a long time. This is how it used to be for Winston, right? As soon as you put the barrier down, the cooldown would start. But when there was no hero limit, teams would play 2 Winstons and the barrier spam was just way too much. I'm glad that they've reverted this back to what it was. Again, this has been a long time coming and I'm super happy with this change. It's going to be difficult for Winston to pull himself back. Dive comps work for him, sure, but with Orisa added into the game, I think he's going to really struggle with being the barrier hero, the anchor tank as Blizzard are calling it. And this last change, man. Orbit destruction, alternate fire recovery reduced from 1 second to 0.6. This just basically sort of cuts down on the time that you fire your shots and you're not like waiting for a second, because the alternate fire isn't really used a lot on ZEN, so I guess this is an attempt to use it more. Orb of Discord can now target enemies through barriers. I think this kind of kills the El Presidente strat if it wasn't dead already with the Bastion nerfs that we saw. This is a major change in itself, and it's a really good buff for Zenyatta. I think a lot of these changes, apart from the translocator one, are really good. I think this is the kind of thing that the PTR has been missing. I think they did take these Bastion changes and the sort of chaos that was last week to heart for sure, that they don't just want to use the PTR for feedback. I think these are really sort of balance tested stuff that they want to throw out. Makes sense around a new hero that a lot of this stuff would change. The same happened with Sombra. So to just reiterate what these changes are like, In my eyes, the Ana change, damage decreased from 80 to 60, with her rifle, biotic grenade damage reduced from 60 to 30, healing reduced from 100 to 50, probably overkill. I think they're really trying to throttle Ana down here. Might be too much. I think this might be the killing blow to how often she's used, but she might pull through, similar to Lucio and Reinhardt, of just being these heroes that you always need on your team. But with these Zenyatta changes, Orb of Destruction, alternate fire reduced from 1 second to 0.6, and Orb of Discord now targeting people through barriers. Yeah, I think we're going to see more Zen, and I think it's justified at this point. Orisa's been collared a little bit since she's been kicking ass on the PTR. Fusion driver magazine size lowered from 200 to 150, just to stop the constant fire of a gun. And supercharger cost has been increased by 15%. Kind of makes sense. It's a very strong ultimate, and I think she was getting it far too often, especially with the amount of fire in a gun, basically. And Winston, I love this change. Cooldown now starts where the barrier is placed instead of where it ends. I think we're going to see a hell of a lot more dive, even though we already see quite a bit of it, but this just adds more strength to that playstyle, especially when Ana gets nerfed as well. Sombra's stealth sound effect VR distance from entering and exiting stealth reduced to 15 meters, means that she's not quite as obnoxious when she's going into stealth, so this is a really important change. Translocator cooldown reduced from 6 seconds to 4, means that we're going to see a bit more of an in and out Sombra, which is going to be pretty interesting to see. And finally, Junkrat, this change is pretty, straightforward. No longer hurts himself from his own explosions, but it's a step in the right direction. I think all of these changes are pretty good, apart from the Ana one. But the important thing here is that you give your feedback on these changes, get on the PTR, play them yourselves, and let Blizzard know on the forums. But let us know in the comments below what you think of these changes in particular. Is this Ana one overkill? Do you like the new Zenyatta Winston buffs? What do you think? Let us know. And until next time, take care. We'll see you then.